sir, thank you. It is a beautiful November afternoon in Boise on the blue for Mountain West football as Fresno State tries to snap a 2-game skid against a Boise State team that's figured it out. 3 straight wins and still undefeated in Mountain West play. Hello everyone, we welcome you to Boise. Former All-Pro running back Robert Smith and Noah Reed with you. It is funny what a few weeks can do because Boise State was 3-2, but 3 straight wins, still unbeaten in the league, and proving that yet again the Mountain West runs through Boise.
Yeah, no question about it. And Spencer Danielson, he's just perfect for this place. I mean, when you sit and you talk to him, you really get a sense of how much the place genuinely means to him, how much his players mean to him. It's a genuine love that he has for his players, but that's a love that he says they have for each other, which is extremely important.
Well, normally it's the offense that has a lot of the headlines in Boise, whether that's Ashton Jeanty, Kellen Moore, you name it. But this season, it's been led by the defense.
Yeah, it certainly has. And they have playmakers on every level of the defense. And, you know, Amari and McCoy gets a lot of the press because he has 2 pick sixes on the season. But how about this guy, Jeremiah Irby, named Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week. And, you know, it's interesting in talking to Eric Chenander, the defensive coordinator. He says when Jeremiah Irby makes a play, you're not necessarily going to hear it from Jeremiah Irby, which is much different than Amari and McCoy. But he says Irby's more of that silent assassin type, but great to see him finally getting some of that press.
Yeah, quiet, but a lot of recognition. He was named Player of the Week defensively in the Mountain West. The other side for Fresno State, it's a young, inexperienced quarterback. We saw start number 1 last week in Fresno, Robert. Didn't go the way he planned, but they have a lot of confidence in this kid.
Yeah, they have a lot of confidence in him, but they have to get him more help. And the offensive coordinator, Josh Davis, said, I need to get him some shorter throws. I need to get more movement. And even when they want to get 5 receivers out, it's going to be delayed releases because they want to at least start with the 7-man type protections. A big test coming up here on the road in Boise.
No touchdowns, 2 picks last week for Conklin. His head coach is Matt Ince in his first season. 3 times went to the FCS national title game, won 2 of those titles at North Dakota State. And on the other side, it's Spencer Danielson, who is in his 2nd full season, took over as the interim head coach in 2023. And Boise State has not lost a Mountain West Conference game since Danielson took over at the end of 2023.
Well, I hope for Fresno State's sake, this doesn't mean they won the toss because they're, what, 0-3?
Yes.
And they're the last 3 times that they've won the toss, they've lost the game. It looks like they won the toss and probably deferred.
They did, yes. So 0-3 when they win the toss, 5-0 when they lose the coin toss. Bad news for Fresno State fans. They won the toss, elected to defer, so it'll be the Boise State offense that we see first.
They're due.
That's right. Always put a positive spin on it.
And this is one area that Boise State really hasn't lived up to the expectations that Spencer Danielson and his staff really have. Some special teams errors and really just not the big plays. Here's an opportunity, first play of the game. See if they can get something moving.
Fresno State has lost 2 in a row since starting 5-1. Boise State has won 3 in a row, and that kick goes through the back of the end zone. A touchback to begin. A Boise State offense that struggled last week, especially in the red zone, Robert, but Maddox Matson has been raved about by both the head coach Spencer Danielson and offensive coordinator Nate Potter this week, the way that he's battling through some injuries.
Yeah, he's got some Baker Mayfield in him, you know, kind of the build. He's more of a short player, little stocky, but just tough as nails. And the guys just love him because he's always willing to do whatever he can to make a play for his team.
His offense has been elite in the first quarter this season, as that's a give to Dylan Riley. He goes straight up the gut, and the first carry of the day goes for 5 yards for the sophomore running back who gets to run behind a very talented and experienced offensive line.
Yeah, it's a great offensive line. Cage Casey, one of the best in the nation, over on that left side. Mason Rudolph at that center spot. He's got a tattoo of the 2,601 yards that Ashton Jeanty had a year ago. Dylan Riley, we kind of saw his coming out party earlier in the season. They were talking about how explosive he could be, and he certainly has been that all year.
Fake it to him here on the play action. Matson has a lot of time, tries to swing it out to Riley, but just past his reach, and it brings up a 3rd down on the opening drive. Fresno State defensively, meanwhile, they played well enough to win last week. It was just the offense that didn't give them any points.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Lafitte's going to be playing along that defensive line, which would be a big loss for them because he's a really explosive player that came over with Matt Entz from USC. And, of course, Azilian Hamilton, very dangerous on the back end. 34 passes defended. That's 2nd in all of FBS for a career.
That defense tries to get off the field with a 3-and-out on the road to start the day. Matson down the seam. Oh, it's right through the hands of Cam Bates and incomplete.
Maddox Matson could not have gone out and handed this ball any better to Cam Bates. Just very disappointing for him, and looking at the hands like you betrayed me. You got to get those hands extended. You can't wait for that ball to come in there, and that's just kind of a hand placement thing when you try and just kind of cup your hands like that as a receiver. Catching a ball over the middle of the ball just tends to catch you in a funny way.
That not only would have been a 1st down, but potentially a touchdown. He had all kinds of space in front of him. Jordan Malak-Ulu calls for the fair catch just outside of the 25.
See Oscar Doyle walking up the field there. Of course, he got hit. The Australian with the Australian style once they leave that pocket area like that for the punts. It's open season.
So Carson Conklin, start number 1 was last week. He takes over for E.J. Warner. Threw for 182 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Looking for a much better performance this week against the Mountain West favorite. And a 13th straight sellout crowd that'll let you hear it. Bryson Donaldson cuts to the right, and he got taken down by Ty Benefield, the top tackler for this Boise State defense.
Boy, Mr. Everything for that defense. Benefield's been tremendous all season long. And this is an offensive line at that left tackle spot. Braden Walton, the true freshman. They've got some more experienced players, a lot of seniors along that offensive line. You see a rotation at the running back spot, and watch for Josiah Freeman, number 5, wide receiver, dangerous threat to go the whole way anytime he touches the ball.
He's lined up at the bottom of your screen. Kept by Conklin, tries to get to the edge. He cannot turn the corner, and Amarion McCoy shoves him out of bounds.
And take a look at the defense for Boise State. Braxton Feely, number 90, along that defensive line. They said he's got a brace just about everywhere on his body. The team's a little bit banged up defensively, but you can see Marco Notriani, the staple there at linebacker. Bowen Phelps, converted safety. And, of course, we talked about McCoy and Irby on that back end. Fresno State has their hands full, especially if they get into these 3rd and long type situations.
They've got one here on a 3rd and 13. And somebody jumps.
About to be 3rd and 18. This might be on Richie Anderson on the outside.
Ball start. Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You and I were in Fresno last week. We saw multiple false starts, and especially on 3rd down, it makes this really difficult. Keep it on the ground, conservative play call, and dropped in the backfield.
Max Steege from Germany coming off the backside, and you don't want to make a living letting Max Steege right here off of that right side of the offense coming scot-free. He's a big man, but he's got some great closing speed.
2nd tackle for loss this season for Max Steege. Both offenses begin the day with a 3-and-out. Blake Sherrod shielding his eyes, and that was last touched by a Fresno State player.
Yeah, that's going to get moved up.
Well, Sherrod touched it. Fresno State jumped all over it, but the ball hit Fresno State first.
Yeah, I think that's going to get moved up probably to about, whoa. They're saying they have it.
I think they're discussing it now.
Yeah, but he touched it. Once they touch it, that ball's dead there at the 35-yard line.
Right.
And one of that official probably didn't see that it had gotten touched.
Spencer Danielson was halfway out onto the field yelling at the officials, and he had to be brought back to the Boise State sideline. He puts his thumbs up. I think the refs told him, hey, we got it under control.
Yeah.
Right there, hit number 2.
The ruling on the field is illegal touching by the kicking team at the 36-yard line. It'll be first down, Boise State. Timeout on the field.
Scoreless. Both offenses go 3 and out early on the blue. Scoreless, a little less than 3 minutes in from Boise in a Mountain West game. As our player profile is brought to you by Google. Maddox Madsen, who led the Mountain West in passing yards a season ago, struggled a little bit as of late over these last 4 games, Robert.
Yeah, he certainly has. And Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, talked about their lack of explosive plays and how you can't just manufacture those. Opportunity for an explosive play lost with a drop pass by Cam Bates on that last 3rd down.
He'd still be running if he caught that football. Dylan Riley has some space on the right side as he sidesteps a defender across midfield. He has a first down for now, but there is a flag thrown. And it's coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Jason Steele, sophomore, redshirt out of Temecula, California. The guilty party on that one, and that's just huge. We talk about holding penalties being absolute drive killers. 1st and 20. Not a lot in the playbook for this one.
Erased what would have been a 13-yard run, and now there's a false start, so back-to-back penalties to start the drive.
Offense, number 3, 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Latrell Caples, guilty party there, and of course Chris Marshall not in the lineup this week, suspended. Disciplinary reasons. Now you have 1st and 25. Try and get something underneath. Throw short and run long.
No Chris Marshall, no Demetric Whitlock, no Ben Ford, and my goodness, 2nd consecutive false start, 3rd straight penalty.
Offense, number 3, 5-yard penalty. First
Same
down.
guy, too.
Wow, what is happening?
I mean, and there's just no excuse if you're at receiver as well. I mean, that's what you do. You watch the ball. It's as bad as a defensive lineman that's lined up right over the ball. You're a receiver. Look, I know you want to get downfield, but you got to have your eyes in at that ball. Wait for that thing to get snapped.
1st and 30 now for Boise State to start this drive. Madsen flares it out. Riley got pummeled immediately. Simeon Harris with a hit in the backfield and another loss.
Well, and you hate to gang up on the guy, but Latrell Caples guilty of both of the false start penalties. He's also the one that's going to be in charge of blocking on the outside, and I don't know why this play gets blown up. He doesn't get to his man. He's able to make that tackle for loss. Well, this is a bad situation. Nate Potter looking deep into the archives of the play calling sheet for this one.
There's no Robert Smith out there, I can tell you that. Hand off to Riley. Tripped up again. Got back to the line of scrimmage, but that's it. And 3rd and 34 coming up for the Broncos.
Boy, and this is exactly what this Fresno State team needs. And, you know, we saw this a week ago with Fresno State playing against San Diego State. They were shut out for the first time at home since 1980, but the defense really put up a solid performance. And here, thanks to the penalties and a couple of big plays, very long 3rd down situation. Just waved the flag here.
Yeah, they handed off Malik Sherrod, the former Fresno State Bulldog. He got a lot of that yardage back, but Still about 20-some yards to go. Fourth down punt unit comes out after 3 consecutive penalties to open the drive for Boise State. Really derailed that possession.
Well, that's really 2 weeks in a row that Boise State just hasn't really looked like Boise State. I mean, even in that Nevada game, the scoreboard looks lopsided, but, you know, with 5 turnovers in that game, you listening to Spencer Danielson, should have been a much bigger margin of victory.
Flag thrown in. Mala'ulu from the 30, dropped immediately.
Was that an illegal fair catch signal? Or did they have too many? Flag coming from the back like that. I'm talking to Spencer, so it must be on Fresno.
Illegal substitution, receiving team. 12 players in formation. That penalty's declined. First down, Fresno State. Timeout.
Well, the Fresno State offense coming back out on the field after this. Second straight week where Fresno's playing in a trophy game. It was the old oil can last week. It is the milk can this week in Boise. And Fresno State is a program that, unlike a lot of other Mountain West teams, has had some recent success against this Boise State team and trying to hand the Broncos their first loss in conference play this season.
We saw them struggle a week ago against San Diego State. This is what Chenander thought he would see, more double tight end sets.
Rayshawn Luke with a patient run after a drive to open this game that they had -6 yards. They get a positive play here on first down.
And we saw them struggle a week ago against San Diego State moving the football. They just could not get that run game going. Offensive coordinator Josh Davis told us that they really wanted to emphasize that run, didn't want to get away from the run this week, and you could see how they're trying to do it. They know they can't just match up 5-on-5 or 5-on-4 against that Boise State defense. Extra tight ends, extra linemen for the run game.
Here's Conklin on the fake, throws it out, wide receiver screen. It's caught. Jayon Farrar is dropped around the 35. It's a 3rd and 4 coming up. And Josh Davis put a lot of that blame last week on himself. Robert said really got away from the game plan, did not help out his quarterback who was making his first career FBS start.
Yeah, no question about it. There were a couple of drops earlier in that game. Carson Conklin, you could tell he was a little bit anxious, missed on a couple of those throws, but I think it was really just a physical mismatch. San Diego State against that Fresno State offensive line, and Josh Davis doing a pretty good job here early, trying to get the ball to the perimeter, get the ball on shorter passes.
Pressure on Conklin, floats it out to the near sideline, and right on cue, you talked about it. They had 7 drops last week. There's the first one of the day, and it comes from Bryson Donaldson, the running back.
Well, and Josh Davis told us that he wanted to try and get some of the shorter throws, make it a little bit more comfortable for Carson Conklin, because he knows that this Boise State defense is going to bring that pressure up inside, and just no excuse for that one. Just have to look that ball in and catch it for your quarterback. And that's what hurts a quarterback's confidence throughout the course of a game. Those drops, sometimes you don't feel like going back to those guys, but of course, play design right there. You're not going to anybody else.
3 of the 7 drops last week came on 3rd down, and already the first today came on 3rd down. Malik Sherrod, the fair catch as he takes a tumble to the ground near the 15. No score from Boise, day after Halloween. The blue has been a nightmare for opposing teams over the last few years. 16 straight wins for Boise State, tied with Alabama for longest active streak in college football. They've won more than 90% of their games this century, and now 16 straight wins against Mountain West teams since Spencer Danielson has taken over in 2023 as the interim head coach. They have not lost a game against a conference opponents.
Watch this guy up here, A.J. Jones. True freshman.
Play action against his body, and it's dropped. Nearly intercepted, too. Would have been a first down for Boise State, but Chase Penry couldn't pull it in.
And with Chris Marshall being out today, the reason I want to talk about A.J. Jones, true freshman. Said that he's really been making strides, developing, and he had 2 receivers in the same area there. So not sure what was going on. Dangerous to throw that one. Could have been tipped and intercepted, but here we are, 2nd and long again.
Madsen looking right the whole way. Now pocket collapses on him and he's sacked. Corey Foreman with his 2nd sack of the season makes it 3rd and long for the Broncos.
You're going to see Foreman fight his way. No, Madsen's down. Foreman fights his way. You can see awkward. He falls on the back of
that ankle,
the leg. And when you get your foot caught in the turf like that sometimes, and then that weight comes down right on top of that, has a tendency to twist. Just kind of get jammed. I don't want to speculate, but he's clearly down in some discomfort.
And has been battling through injuries for a large majority of the season, too. There's Max Cutforth, an Idaho native, the backup quarterback, who has taken snaps in multiple games this season.
When talking to Spencer Danielson and offensive coordinator Nate Potter, we talk about Maddox Madsen. He's got that Baker Mayfield in him. He is a tough guy, and if anybody can do it, he's the kind of guy that's going to go to the sideline, get that thing taped up, and get back in there if he can. But he was banged up coming in, walking around with a boot various times over the last few weeks. This is where Maddox has got to be honest with the staff too, right? Like, you just got to tell him what you can do, and here it looks like he's going to need help getting off the field. Can't put any weight on that right foot ankle.
Not a sight you want to see if you're Boise State. You said not able to put any weight on it, being helped off the field. The starting quarterback, who threw for over 3,000 yards a season ago, has thrown for over 2,000 this season. And it's Max Cutforth, the backup, who has not recorded any stats since the App State game more than a month ago. 3rd and long, he gives it to Malik Sherrod, who is stacked up immediately after a 3-yard pickup, and it's 4th and long. We have seen 5 drives combined between the two teams, Robert, and no first downs.
Yeah, shaky start for both offenses, and credit to defenses, but you've seen some administrative errors, some pre-snap penalties from Boise State, and of course, get backed up on that sack and lose your starting quarterback.
Oscar Doyle standing in his own end zone to punt it away. Jordan Mala'ulu near midfield. Takes it at his own 45 and swung to the ground immediately. Still good starting field position, though, for Fresno State.
Tomorrow on Fox, Justin Jefferson leads the Vikings in an NFC North showdown against Jared Goff and the Lions. The Jags take on the Raiders, or other regional action. Check local listings for the game in your area tomorrow, only on Fox.
It's a good one at 1 o'clock. Vikings-Lions, division matchup.
Say I'm unbiased, but I'd be lying to you in America.
By far best starting field position today for Fresno State. Carson Conklin and the Bulldogs at their own 45. Neither team has recorded a first down in the first 5 drives combined. Donaldson bounces away from one, and he got clipped down after just a 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, and talking to defensive coordinator Eric Chenander, he said that because of this style of run game that you see from Fresno State, he wasn't going to be doing as much early down blitzing, but they came with the blitz there, and that's the exact reason that they don't want to blitz, because you get people out of position, and you're guessing, really. You try and create some negative plays on 1st and 2nd down with those run blitzes, but the danger is that you get out of position, but only gave up a yard.
Conklin steps up, fires, gets caught near the 45, and that is just about a half-yard shy of the line to gain for Josiah Freeman, the top target for Fresno State.
Well, we saw something similar last week. It was unusual action from Carson Conklin, almost that jump pass. We saw it back in the day from Tim Tebow. They scored a touchdown hitting Donaldson, I believe, up the rail out of the backfield that last time. But here, multiple tight ends, heavy set.
With Ramirez, the big back in there, 220 pounds, leans forward. He's marked down at the 45, which is the line to gain. We'll see if they move the chains, and they will. First down.
Well, and that's just second effort right there, because this Boise State defense came up, and Ty Benefield, Ganter, both had their arms around Ramirez that time, but Ramirez, as he's done this season, ran so hard, picked up the first.
Flea flicker, Conklin facing some heat, rolls right, and wisely throws it out of play.
Yeah, Malachi Williams with that closing speed, 2.5 sacks on the season. He forces Carson Conklin to get rid of that thing a little bit earlier than he wanted to, but I got to tell you, every time I see those flea flickers and I see quarterbacks, or especially when you get a wide receiver or running back that's coming around on those kind of passes, just because it's a trick play doesn't mean you have to throw it and put the ball in danger, especially if you're Fresno in this road environment.
Play is blown dead by a flag, the 6th one we've seen thrown in this first quarter.
False start. Offense. Everyone but the center. 5-yard penalty.
It's your
Second down.
favorite call.
I love it.
A chuckle every time from Noah Reed. There's everyone but the center.
One guy did his job correctly, the rest of you did not. Always get a kick out of that.
You're worthless and weak. I know that's before your time. That was a good 15 years before you were born. This Animal House, by the way.
Please make sure that the game music stops at the Fresno State scrimmage.
Lively crowd coming to life. Second and long.
Says 2nd and 10, but it's 2nd and 15 after the false start.
Conklin off the back foot, lofts it to the sideline. There's nobody there, and it's 3rd down coming up. Well, maybe it's not. There's a flag thrown in the backfield.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 90. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Wow.
Braxton Feely going to get called on this one. What a costly penalty. I don't know what he did after that one. Just must have thrown him down to the ground. Boy, it's a lot of laundry today. Laundry day today for sure. That's a costly one, especially the way the Fresno had been backed up with a penalty.
Would have been 3rd and 15. Instead, it's 1st and 10. Donaldson with a powerful run, shaking loose of a couple tackles to pick up 6.
6'4", 255-pound sophomore Richie Anderson is the lead blocker on that one. It's quite a luxury as an offensive play caller. Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator there at Fresno State. When you get those big tight ends, those true dual threats, guys that can play not just in-line type tight ends, but that can pull like that, like an H-back, such a threat.
Luke has it, follows a block, now cuts right side, he's got a first down, bending it around the perimeter. ripped out of bounds inside the 20, plus a flag flies in after the play.
Yeah, they're going to go a little bit of counter with the tight end, and it's going to be Cameron Beecham, the tight end, that's going to lead the way here. And it's that explosiveness of Rayshawn Luke. He's a little water bug. Don't get it twisted, though. 5'9", 180. That guy, not very big, but he runs hard. And here, Mickey, as soon as he gets across out of bounds, just got to let him go.
Late hit out of bounds, defense. That penalty's half the distance to the goal line. And an automatic first down.
No, that's a second penalty from this defense, and you can sense the frustration, but you just got to be smarter than that.
Yeah.
And Mickey, he's a guy that got here late because he wanted to get his degree from Notre Dame, and
smart.
Obviously, he's a smart guy, but not a very smart play.
12 yards on the run, plus half the distance to the goal, and it's 1st and goal. Donaldson with another great run as he charges down to the 2 to set up 2nd and goal for the Dogs.
Wow, what a difference from a week ago. From what we saw against San Diego State, this offensive line is doing some work. And I love what Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator, has done. Like, if you know that your offensive line is going to have trouble just manning up against the defensive line, put those guys in duo. Get those guys on combination blocks and create some movement for your backs.
Right back to Donaldson, left side, twisting away from a tackler, lunging for the goal line. He's a half yard shy. It's 3rd and goal.
Yeah, credit to this Fresno State offensive line, but I don't know if Eric Chenander's down on the sideline, but if he's down on that sideline, we're going to have some shots of a Boise State defense getting chewed out. Guys jumping out of gaps, not taking on blocks the way that you normally see from this stout Boise State defense.
Let's see if they can get a stop here on 3rd and goal. Gilliam and Ramirez in the backfield. Direct snap. Gilliam left side. No signal yet.
I thought he got over.
And there's a touchdown. Fresno State takes a first quarter lead against Boise State.
And remember, Fresno State shut out a week ago. First time that they had been shut out at home since October of 1980. Comes on the road here, struggles on the first drive, and then really leans on that run game heavily. Beneficiaries of a couple penalties, no doubt. They looked physical and good on that offensive line.
You said it, a completely different team than what we saw just 7 days ago against San Diego State. And it's the Bulldogs who have come. Fox Sports proudly salutes our nation's veterans and the organizations that serve them every day. Our veterans deserve to live with dignity and independence, not on the streets. That is why we are making Camo our cause this Veterans Day in support of the Honor U.S. Vets campaign. To donate and learn how you can help end veteran homelessness, visit go.fox/US Vets. 9 plays, 55 yards, a 1-yard touchdown run for Elijah Gilliam has given Fresno State the lead against a Boise State team that has been so elite in the first quarter this season, Robert, outscoring opponents 79-19 in the first 15 minutes, but it's Fresno State who strikes first.
Well, obviously, 29 yards of penalties, 30 yards of penalties on 2 plays. And of course, with Maddox Madsen out of the game, we'll see what we're going to get from Max Cutforth.
Madsen went down at the end of last drive. Cutforth comes in, just 6 for 10 this season, the backup Idaho native from Skyview High School. Sire gains his first touch running left side, and he gets drilled backwards after just 3 yards. And they blew the play dead, even though he never went to the grounds. Forward progress.
Got a player down. Looks like it might be Jason Steele, the left guard. His backup, number 72, Zach Holmes, said he was going to be playing more today. Excuse me, Zach Holmes backs up Randolph at that center spot, but they said that he was going to be playing more today, so maybe they insert him at that left guard spot. Kyneth has gotten a lot of snaps over there as well, and you hate to see anybody go down, but this is a team that has historically rotated a lot of offensive linemen and like to get those guys backup snaps, quality snaps throughout the course of the year, and just getting them into the regular rotation in situations like that where you have a player that goes down, you have one of those guys ready to roll in.
Boise State has already seen the starting left guard go down, Jason Steele. They've seen the quarterback Maddox Matson go down last drive. Offense that has been banged up the last few weeks. Spencer Danielson alluded to it with us yesterday. Said we're trying to find new braces every single week because guys dealing with injuries and trying to play through them. Cutforth also does not have two of his top 3 receivers. Chris Marshall suspended today. Ben Ford, who was leading the team in touchdown catches, suffered a season-ending injury 2 weeks ago against UNLV. Malik Sherrod, former Fresno State Bulldog, breaks one loose down the sideline, and he's tracked down inside the 30 by Cameron Braca. And you know he loves doing that against his former teammates.
Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, said we are going to be a run-first team no matter what. Get new players in on that line with the injury to Jason Steele. Same result that they've seen many times this year from Boise State. Get those players up to the second level. A guy like Malik Sherrod, you know that he loves it. You can see the emotion in his face playing against his former team.
44 yards for Malik Sherrod on his second touch of the day. It's now a toss to him again, and he gets upended in the backfield. Loss of a couple. Simeon Harris, who's already made 2 stops behind the line of scrimmage today.
And Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator for Boise State, he said, you know, we're going to be run first, we'll be play action second, and we'll be drop back third. So it's never with the quarterback position it is simple as, hey, next guy up. But if any team can handle having a backup quarterback, it's a team like Boise State.
This will not help the cause.
False start. Offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That is Zach Holmes, who just came in this drive to replace Jason Steele, who went down, and it becomes the 6th penalty against the Broncos in the first quarter.
Yeah, really uncharacteristic for this Boise State team. Known for their discipline.
Fake it to Gaines. Cutforth rolls out right, completes the pass to Matt Lauder, his tight end, but it's a short gain, and it's still 3rd and long for Boise State.
Quarterback's best friend, especially young quarterbacks or inexperienced quarterbacks just getting into a game. It's a powerful run game, and it's those tight ends. We know about Matt Lauder, the top tight ends in the nation, but still a big 3rd down here. See what Cutforth can do.
Boise State does not have to snap this. And they won't. Well,
they tried
after the play, after the time
First
ran
quarter.
out.
I was going to put on my OC hat again and say, they need to fake more of those things.
What a first quarter here in Boise. Fresno State coming on the road, taking a 7-0 lead, trying to hand Boise their first conference loss. Max Cutforth, the backup quarterback who entered last drive when Maddox Matson went down, has the Broncos driving into Fresno State territory for the first time after the first 3 drives of the day were all 3 and outs. Cut forth with time down the seam. Pass was batted at the line of scrimmage. 4th down. Colton Boomer on to attempt a 45-yard field goal. He's made from as long as 50 this season. Trying to give the Broncos their first points of the day. Good snap and hold. The kick is blocked. Boomer jumps on it, but what a start to this game for Fresno State. Matt Entz is loving what he's gained in all 3 phases today. It was Jason Jacks who came in there to swat the punt, or the kick.
Jason Jacks, 3 fumble returns on the season, leads FBS, and he just breaks through that front and elevates. I don't even know if he had to jump for that one. Just stuck his paw. Just a bad job on the left side of that front, that protection from Boise. So you go from a 3rd down play where you get a pass batted down at the line of scrimmage to a field goal attempt that's knocked down as well.
Fresno State's offense scored on its last drive. This is Rayshawn Luke hopping to the edge. He turns the corner, lowers the shoulder. He's the one that delivers the hit on that run.
Well, you're talking about a running back that's only 5'9", 180 pounds. He bounces this thing to the outside, and that's Benefield coming up for that tackle. We know how physical he can be, but Rayshawn Luke lowers the boom.
Physical run for Rayshawn Luke, the redshirt junior. And before the snap, Richie Anderson jumps.
False start. Offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
We're less than a minute into the 2nd quarter. We've almost got 10 penalties in this game. The kind of thing that drives coaches crazy.
Drives me crazy.
This is something that Entz has talked about, though, with his team. You know, going back to the Colorado State game, just way too many pre-snap administrative type penalties. Boise crowd waking up, making some noise.
Conklin had trouble with the snap, and then the play is blown dead by yet another penalty marker.
I think that left side of the offensive line got a little bit anxious. Eric Chenander, the defensive coordinator, was going with a little overload look.
Illegal snap. Offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Back-to-back penalties. There's Eric Chenander, the defensive coordinator for Boise State.
And you can see he is down on that field. I know that he's given this defense an earful.
Conklin, design run for the quarterback, ducks his head underneath the tackle, and he gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but it's still a 3rd and 10 coming up for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Chenander's been around this game for a long time. One of the better defensive coordinators in all of college football, and he's really mixing up looks. And you get a guy like Carson Conklin making his 2nd start on the road in a loud environment like you have here in Boise. You want to see if he's going to be able to respond to the pressure that you bring. Pressure look here, though I expect some of these guys to drop back into coverage.
They send them all. Conklin over the middle. Oh, that's nearly intercepted. Josiah Freeman, the wide receiver, turned into the defensive back, and it would have been a 4th consecutive game with a pick for Amarion McCoy.
Boy, you talk about the aggression of Amarion McCoy, and I just love the way that he plays. He plays like that football is his. And Eric Chenander obviously does a tremendous job as a defensive coordinator, but Amarian McCoy, based on that formation, situation, expect that route, break on the ball early.
3 straight games with an interception for McCoy, and he was that close to a 4th. Fresno State has to punt it away. Malik Sherrod calling for the fair catch. He lets it bounce. A little bit of a Fresno State roll down to the 22. Broncos still looking for their first points of the day, down a touchdown at home against Fresno State. Well, the last time these two met, Malik Sherrod was on the other sideline. Now with Boise State, he was with Fresno State for 5 seasons, and he was the single biggest reason Fresno State currently has possession of the milk can. Ran for 132 yards and a touchdown, also returned a kick 95 yards for a touchdown in that 7-point win for Fresno State. Saw him break off a 44-yard run earlier today, the biggest play Boise State has had on the day. Cut forth, gives Dylan Riley, rips to the ground right at the line of scrimmage. There is nothing going for that run game right now for the Broncos.
Yeah, really from a scheme perspective and what you're doing with your formations, you're just leaving certain players unblocked. And that time it was Jaden Davis who got into the front, and not knowing the play, you don't know for sure, but you just wonder if those are looks that Cutforth is supposed to check out of.
Had a 44-yard run from Sherrod earlier, but the other 8 carries for Boise State have gone for a total of 18 yards. Cutforth, open pin rate. He's across the 30 and right at the line to gain. And we'll see if they give him the first down or not. Oh, there is Maddox Madsen, starting quarterback, had to be consoled earlier. He's on crutches with a boot on his foot after taking a spill on a sack 2 drives ago, and that's why Max Cutforth, the backup, is in the game for the Broncos.
And you know how much it means to him. You know how much it cares about it, and how much he cares about it. You can see the emotion. If he could, he would, no doubt.
3rd and a yard. This is Gaines, straight up the gut, got a push, and his offensive line on that second effort moves the chains for the first time on a 3rd down today.
Needed a little help from his friends on that one, because Fresno State defensive line did a pretty good job of closing up the hole initially. They kind of kept those legs going. Nick Benedetto, the defensive coordinator, Fresno State, said dead feet don't eat. Got a hit on contact. Boise State able to get a little bit more push that time.
End around. It's a toss. Cam Bates. They like to get him going in the run game. Sidesteps a couple tacklers before he's finally spun to the ground. It goes for about 2, maybe 3 yards, but at least it was a fun 2 or 3 yard run.
And you're going to see the tight end pulling around, and he's supposed to block really the first dangerous thing that he sees in that alley. He misses Kajavi. That was Matt Lauder. That's where the tight ends kind of got to become running backs. Use that good vision on the edge to know who to block.
This is Gaines. You can hear that collision. Simeon Harris applied the hit there on Gaines.
Well, you called it, partner. Harris comes up from that safety spot. 31 tackles on the season. Whew, comes up with that big hit. And got somebody coming in low at the same time. That's one where you get back to the huddle as a running back and you're like, okay, next time somebody please get that guy.
Sound like you've been there a time or two.
I've been there a time or two. It looks like your ears are literally ringing.
1 3rd down conversion on this drive already. Cutforth slings it to the near sideline. Latrell Caples could not come down to the ground with it. It's incomplete.
Boy, a little bit high on that throw, but Jakari Embry attacks the hands. Watch Embry right here. It's one he probably should have caught, but as Embry goes into those arms, keeps him from making that catch.
So yet another drive that stalls out for Boise State. Doyle punts it away. Mala'ulu, the fair catch, just outside the 15. That's where this Fresno State offense will have the football on the other side. Bulldogs looking good on the road in the first half.
Hey, coming up is the State Farm Halftime Show. Arch has the Longhorns riding high these days, while Ohio State makes a final statement before the first playoff rankings, and an unbeaten goes down in the American Conference. Noah and Robert, we're coming down the stretch. See you fellas at the half.
Mike, thank you. That American Conference has been so much fun to watch this year. And if you're a Boise State fan, you're hoping that those top 3 or 4 teams at the top of the American keep taking each other down week after week. Well, right now, you just got to worry about yourself if you're the Broncos. Down 7-0. Fresno State's got the football, and Rayshon Luke, who has another physical run here to open the drive. We talked with Josh Davis earlier this week, the offensive coordinator for Fresno State, and he said we got away from our game plan way too much last week. We did not run the football enough, and the big emphasis coming into this week, Robert, was to run it more.
But you can see those numbers right there. This Boise State defense really been stout, except for that one drive where they had the 2 big penalties.
Conklin over the middle, incomplete. Marco Notriani, the linebacker, had the coverage, and it's 3rd and long. Defense trying to force Conklin and Fresno State into a 3-and-out. They're showing pressure. Drop out of it. Conklin moving the pocket to the right. He's in the back of his own end zone. Completes the pass for a big loss to Freeman all the way back to the 10.
We talk about the front and the coverage being married. What that means is that one benefits from the other. Great coverage on the back end gives the front time to get home and force Conklin out of the pocket for a throw underneath it would have been nowhere near a first down. Another great performance. And boy, I don't know what words were said on the sideline by Eric Chenander. I just guarantee, I'm surprised we couldn't hear him from up here, actually.
Whatever he said worked. Chance to flip the field here with Malik Sherrod calling for a fair catch right at midfield, and the Broncos have great starting field position with 8:24 to go before halftime.
Boy, and Spencer Danielson, he talked to us about the way that he actually had to change the practice schedule. Less good on good in practice. They've been less physical in practice just because of the stacking up of the injuries at various positions. And you just wonder in a game like this early if some of that is showing up in the way that the defense played early on that one drive, but certainly looking more like the Bronco defense that we're used to seeing.
So look at the KFC coaching profile, sponsored by KFC. It's finger licking good. This offense trying to turn something into points, and that pass is incomplete into triple coverage by Cutforth. Looking for Matt Lauder. It was Alzillian Hamilton, the first of 3 defenders there on the play.
And Lauder turned into a defensive back on that one. Undercuts the legs of a defender going up for that ball. And that was Alzillian Hamilton, we had talked about earlier. One of the best cornerbacks in the nation, had a better chance at catching that one than Lauder.
Cutforth snaps it to the right side. It's caught, but then a play immediately made. Ethan Tierney from the safety spot read it perfectly in a stop of just a couple yards.
The Tierney from DeKalb, Illinois. Played for Northern Illinois as well, and he could just see that one all the way. It's just good defense. Benedetto, based on the formation, you expect certain route combinations. Believe what you see. Tierney triggers, makes a nice stop.
Says Sherrod on the ground, breaks free. He's across the 40. Should be enough to move the chains. It is first down.
Tremendous job of the front for the Broncos here. Moving in unison. Get that split zone action with Louder coming across the formation. And that acceleration of Sherrod. No wasted movement. Picks up the first down.
He's ran for 67 yards on just 5 carries today. Sherrod again. This time he's dropped in the backfield. Jaden Pearson, the leading tackler for Fresno State, is back there for a loss.
Well, this is what Nick Benedetto talked about. The defensive coordinator for Fresno State. The second level of defense, the linebacker level, needed to do a better job tracking on run plays, watching for cutbacks, but being able to get through, scrape, making tackles for loss, and that's exactly what you saw there.
Fake the handoff. Cut forth, delivers it over the middle. His tight end, Matt Lauder, gets a couple yards back from the loss, but it's still a 3rd and long coming up for Boise State.
You can see cut forth. It's just so different. You get reps, live reps in practice versus live reps in games, especially for quarterbacks. Because quarterbacks, you're not getting hit in practice, right? So it just speeds things up for quarterbacks, and they may take some options that aren't going to be the best options just to make completions.
Boise State has lived on 3rd and long today. Counter back to Lauder, his second straight catch, has a block, and he's dropped at the 31, a yard shy of a first down.
Good play call here by Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, getting that throwback. Going to be about a yard short. They're going to leave the offense out in the field. Sire Gaines, a little bit bigger back, 6 foot, 217 pounds, checks into the game.
The big back that Nate Potter said he loves to run right through your face. See if they give it to him needing a yard on 4th down. Instead, it's kept. Cut forth, lunges across. He's got the first down all by himself.
Boy, it's rare that you really leave the center uncovered on a 4th and 1 situation like that, and that may be an opportunity where Cutforth can check. If there's no defender over the center, the quarterback sneak is automatic on a play like that.
Worked for a couple yards, keeps the drive alive. Now it's Gaines, lowers the shoulder, spins away from a tackler. Powerful run for Sire Gaines. He's inside the 20.
The Boise State fans are as excited as you are, Noah, about that play, and this is what they're used to seeing from that big offensive line. You get your pullers coming around. They go with a little bit of counter with right guard carry on. Tight end pulling across as well. And then you got that big body, Sire Gaines. Man, he gets downhill. He's a load.
Played just 3 games as a true freshman last year because of a season-ending injury, but they were so excited to have him back at full strength. His 2nd consecutive touch goes for a first down.
And again, going back to what offensive coordinator Nate Potter told us, this team is going to be run first, going to be play action second, going to be drop back third, and what you're seeing right now, because they're so dominant up front, you get a little bit of that play action. You get those plays that look the same. You can leave some opportunities on the back end for some big completions.
Do keep it on the ground with Gaines. 3 consecutive carries. He's stacked up after a 4-yard pickup. You're right, though, right? I mean, you just continue to pound it with the run game, and eventually it's going to open up an opportunity to take a shot.
Yeah, Fresno State's got no choice. They're going to have to bring some extra bodies to stop the run. Looks like we've got an injury here.
Oh, that's Sire Gaines. the running back who's had 3 very productive carries in a row for the Broncos.
And they've got a deep running back room with Malik Sherrod and Dylan Riley as well. Nice to see him not only getting off the field under his own power, but break it into a little bit of a jog. You'd love to see that. You wonder if it might have been a cramp or something.
Gaines goes out after 3 consecutive carries. Dylan Riley comes in, leading the conference in rushing yards on the season coming into this game, but he's been kept pretty quiet today, just 3 touches for 6 yards. He'll get one here. Cannot get away from that swarming defense. Got a yard, and it's 3rd down.
That's one I think he probably should have taken that a little bit further. You know, generally speaking, they tell you to hug double teams and to follow your pullers unless you see something extraordinarily different in a play. But you get away from those extra bodies. That's what they're trying to do. Those pullers are moving gaps. Makes it tough for the defenders.
3rd down, cut forth to throw. Looking over the middle, back of the end zone. It's a touchdown. First of the season for Chase Penry, and an extra point away from tying this game.
You called it, partner. Penry's going to come from the right side of the formation. And it's going to be Embry in coverage. Not able to keep up with him. Cutforth locates him, finds him at the back of the end zone, and Penry was making sure he was catching that one. Trapped that thing into his chest for 6.
The extra point ties it up at 7 with just over 2 to go before halftime.
It's a microphone fiend. Eric B. and Rakim. You know what? And the Broncos are on the board. We're tied up at 7.
In sports, Game 7 of the World Series is tonight on Fox as Ohtani and the Dodgers look to repeat. Vlad Jr. and the Blue Jays fight for their first crown in 32 years. Coverage begins tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Ohtani getting the start tonight. Max Scherzer on the other side. It's going to be awesome. Game 7, winner take all for a World Series. And it's perfect because you can watch us all the way up till that, and then you can tune in for the World Series right after watching this game.
I'm excited to see that, man. It's crazy double play at the end of that last night, wasn't it? On a pop like that? Wow. At least we don't have to drive around Toronto tonight.
That's a good point. 7-7, 2:07 to go before halftime. It was Fresno State who jumped on the board early in the first quarter. Took Boise State's offense a while to get going, but they're coming off a 12-play touchdown drive just moments ago.
And it took a while for their defense to get going, too. I should say they just had a momentary lapse in the middle there.
Conklin looks left, steps up in the pocket, delivers as he gets hit, and that falls incomplete, short of Josiah Freeman. Max Steege with the pressure for the Broncos.
Yeah, and Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator. It was interesting. We asked him about the confidence of Carson Conklin, and it's like you could almost sense like he wanted to laugh when we asked, like, oh, he doesn't have any problems with confidence. He does a nice job stepping up into the pocket. The guy's just fearless. You can see defenders, even as defenders are going to try and sack him, just getting the paw on his shoulder. He just ducks calmly under it. The Boise defense holding stout.
Likely the final play before the 2-minute timeout. Floating it to the sideline, incomplete. Ezekiel Abbott couldn't quite pull it in, and it's 3rd down coming up for the Bulldogs after the 2-minute timeout.
Yeah, and Ezekiel Abbott had been out with a bad ankle. Comes back, but not able to make it. We're gonna end this with Radiohead to break. Are you kidding me? Paranoid Android. We're tied up in Boise.
The day after after Halloween, but that didn't stop the crowd here in Boise from dressing up.
See the Macho Man Smurf there? What are you going to do when the biggest arms of a Smurf come pounding down on you, baby? Papa Smurf mailed it in, too. He didn't even put on paint.
No. 1:58 to go before halftime. 3rd and 10. Conklin trying to escape, spins out of a sack, heaves the football up, and there's nobody around. Incomplete. Boise State, with all 3 timeouts, is going to have about 1:40 once they get the football back to try to drive down the field and add points before halftime.
Self-inflicted wound there by Carson Conklin. You have to read the rush of the defenders, and Roland Fullwood, his right tackle, does a nice job just trying to push. I think that was Max Steege over there by Conklin, just ran right into him. Got a sense that, and normally he has a better pocket presence than that. He should have stepped up away from the pressure.
Fresno State took just 16 seconds off the clock on those 3 plays on that drive. So Boise State, right after a touchdown, gets the football back with 1:41 and all 3 timeouts in pretty decent field position, too. It is a backup quarterback in Max Cutforth after Maddox Madsen went down on the 3rd drive of the game, but with 3 timeouts and the way they moved the football last drive, you got to think they're going to be pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, 3 timeouts, plenty of time, middle of the field wide open to you, of course. And say it again, what this offense wants to be run first, only for so long on a drive like this where you're trying to get some points. But play action could be huge in a situation like this, especially on 1st down or 2nd and short situations. You get that run action, get those defenders drawn up, and hit a big pass behind them.
It's Malik Sherrod on the ground on the first play, and he runs right into a wall of defenders for just a yard. And Fresno State is going to use the timeout with 1:34. They're thinking they may get the football back.
That's a little surprising there. Maybe a personnel thing as well.
Matt Ence's team, after getting shut out last week at home for the first time since 1980, have responded much better in this first half today on the road in a place that is so difficult to win, tied at 7 with just about 94 seconds to go before halftime.
And of course, we called that game a week ago against San Diego State. You know, you could just tell he was so disappointed with the way that they had played against Colorado State the week before, and I'm sure he's feeling much better about his team, but it's not about consolation prizes. They want to win the game.
Cutforth snaps it over the middle, pass is batted up in the air and picked off. Fresno State's got it. It's Harris with the pick, who has made play after play today for the Bulldogs.
Boy, and Harris is down, grabbing that right leg. And I think he's going to try and get it to Wagner here. Ball's just going to bounce, excuse me, that's Lauder. The ball just bounces up into the air. Doesn't catch that thing cleanly. Just pops up, and see a little friendly fire there. Titus Kajavi coming in there to try and make a stop, and runs right into the leg of Harris.
2 tackles for loss and an interception in this first half for Harris as he has to be helped off the field. But we're talking about how Boise State could be aggressive. They had all 3 timeouts. They had time, but now Fresno State 2 timeouts starting at the +46, trying to add points. Conklin flares it out to Luke. The running back shakes away from one, and he gets pushed out of bounds just shy of the 40, picks up 4 yards on first down.
Boy, and this is what Josh Davis talked about. Talked about the explosiveness of Rayshon Duke, the transfer from Arizona. And that was a play where expected to have some blockers taking care of that most dangerous man, that defender that had an opportunity to get him. But Rayshon looks like, okay, it's all right, I got him. I can take care of this guy. Not a big gain but really should have been a negative play. Luke makes something out of nothing.
Fake it to Luke on the motion. Conklin fires down the seam. He wants Freeman, and it's incomplete.
Well, that's a slow developing play. Multiple cuts on the back end there by Freeman, and Conklin can have a linebacker blitzing free. Not able to stand in there and wait for that route to come open. He just wanted to get rid of it and put it in the wrong place. By the time Freeman got his head around, no chance to catch it.
Two straight 3-and-outs forced by this Boise State defense. Looking for another stop here on third down. Conklin snaps it to the left sideline. One-on-one coverage. There's a flag. Jaleel McClain is who he was looking for. Ty Benefield had the coverage. And Fresno State gets to continue this drive.
Yeah, you see some protesting from Benefield when he gets up, but protests don't last very long. That happens so many times when a defender has their back turned like that, especially when that ball
Pass
gets...
interference, defense, number 0, 15-yard penalty, and an automatic
A
first
little
down.
underthrown, excuse me. It was in the slot there with Benefield on McClain, and he tries to get that head around. He gets the eyes back there, but he grabs the shoulders of McClain. Easy call for the official.
More penalty yards against Boise State in this game than Fresno State has total yards on offense today. Keep it on the ground. This is Luke bouncing left side. Has a block from his receiver. Stiff arms a defender. He's got a first down. What a run from Rayshawn Luke.
Rayshawn Luke gets the run, and he gets his mouth running after it. You can tell he's all fired up, man. And this thing is designed to go up inside, but you could tell with that kind of speed, does a nice job getting under the block of Abbott on the outside, and then gets a little bit of a stiff arm, gets out of bounds, and does a lot of John.
He's been the entire source of offense today for Fresno State. Oh, if he got away from that one, there was a bunch of open space. But instead, he's tripped up. Malachi Williams saves what could have been a big play.
You're absolutely right, partner. Malachi Williams kind of gets the shoestrings of Luke, and then a lot of blue turf. Wide open. Probably would have been 6.
This is unreal. More penalty yards against Boise State than total yards for Fresno State. And the fact that Fresno State is driving in the red zone with a chance to take the lead on the road before halftime.
Well, it's oddly similar to what we saw a week ago against San Diego State. I mean, the way that Fresno State played early in that one, they had no business only being down 10-0. And you look at the way Boise State played a week ago against Nevada, had so many opportunities. That's college football for you, though. And hey, that's the thing Spencer Danielson talked about. You know, you love seeing the kids be kids, especially around Halloween. But, you know, what comes with that? Coaching 18 to 20-year-olds, you're just not exactly sure what you're going to get from play to play, let alone week to week.
Fresno State a chance to double up, too, because they won the toss and deferred. So the offense gets the football to start the third quarter. They've got a chance to get 7 or even at worst 3 before halftime. Fake to Donaldson. Conklin throws it back. Pass is caught. Richie Anderson, the tight end, is swung to the ground shy of the 10 by Malachi Williams.
Boy, this is the second time in about 3 plays Malachi Williams sniffs it out. Because of his great open field tackling, maybe able to save 6.
Clock is winding under 15 seconds. They got to go. Third down. And before the play, a flag. It's a full start against Fresno State. they're going to have to burn the timeout here to avoid the 10-second runoff, too.
Offense, number 5. Fresno State has elected to take a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 9 seconds.
So that's the final timeout, too, for Fresno State. 9 seconds on the clock. It is 3rd down, so you got a chance to take a shot here in the end zone, Robert?
Oh, yeah, 9 seconds, plenty of time. Definitely have the time to take a shot. I see their kicker out there warming up. They may just think, let's just go ahead and try and kick this thing.
Yeah.
And of course, when you've got Irby and McCoy along with Benefield, even Mickey on the back end of that Boise State defense, you don't like it's not 50-50 balls that you're going to be throwing up if you're going to take a shot into the end zone.
This is a 36-yard attempt from Dylan Lynch, who's hit from as long as 43 this season and 52 in his career. Good snap and hold. The kick for the lead right before halftime is straight down the middle from Dylan Lynch. Matt Ence's team gets the football to start the 3rd quarter as well. There still is 5 seconds on the clock here, so not the end of the half yet. But what an opportunity to double up if you're the Bulldogs on the road. The field goal with 5 seconds before halftime gives you the lead. Plus, barring something crazy happening here, you're going to take a lead into halftime and get the football to start the 3rd.
Again, of course, a week ago at home, shut out in that game against San Diego State. That was the first time that they were shut out at home since October of 1980, when Private Benjamin, the movie, was out. And as we talked about, another one bites the dust, which is really a great historical footnote, because Another One Bites the Dust was the inspiration for Another One Rides the Bus by Weird Al, launching maybe the most significant musical career of the last 60 years.
Squib kick. Sherrod picks up to 15 with a running start. He's got space. And he goes down just across the 40, and there is no time left on the clock in the 2nd quarter, and that brings us to halftime. 10-7, Fresno State coming on the road. They've got a lead over Boise State, who's undefeated in Mountain West play this season. Matt Ence's team with a great response after being shut out last week. It's the State Farm Halftime Show with Mike Hill and the guys coming up next. Just 60 total yards in the first half for Fresno State, yet on the road they have a 3-point lead over Boise State. Hello, everyone. We welcome you back inside the booth. Robert Smith, Noah Reed back with you. This has been far from what you would call pretty football, but if you're Fresno State, you have to be thrilled to be up 3 at one of the most difficult places in the country to win.
Yeah, you talked about it. I mean, they had 60 yards of offense in that first half. Boise State had 64 yards of penalties. And Fresno State, 5 false start penalties. They really just have not been able to get anything going really from that offense. And you know, we look at Rashawn Luke, and he's got half of their yards, more than half of their yards. He was really the only bright spot for the offense. But on the bright side of things for Fresno State, the defense played pretty well. And Boise State defense played pretty well for most of that first half. And special teams plays still bothering this Boise State team with the blocked field goal, continuing a trend, an unusual trend for them to not be playing some of the best special teams in the nation. So I'm excited to see this second half. You know, I think there are a lot of similarities between these programs. I think just kind of the mentality of both of these programs. I'm a little bit biased, but more of a Midwest kind of feel, I think, with these guys. Just, you know, they have players that love to play at these schools and coaches that love to coach ball and teach.
Fresno State kicked a field goal with 5 seconds before halftime. They've got a chance to double up with the football to start the third quarter. The return came out to just the 10, but there is a flag thrown. And we've seen a lot of those today.
We've seen a lot of them, and we've seen Fresno State here on the road doing what road teams shouldn't do, and that's make these kind of unforced errors.
During the return, holding receiving team number 87. That penalty's half the distance to the goal line. First down, Fresno State.
So what was already really poor starting field position becomes even worse. Half the distance to the goal, and the drive starts at the 5 for Matt Ence's team when they've only had 60 total yards the entire first half.
Boy, that cheering section in the end zone, you know they're going to get loud with 5 false start penalties already today for Fresno State. And a defensive coordinator like Eric Chenander, expect to see a little bit of heat coming from that defense.
It's a handoff to Donaldson. Patient run, lowers the shoulder, and he plows forward for 3 yards, and that creates just a little bit of breathing room for Fresno State.
Call that BYOB. It's not bringing your own beverage, it's being your own blocker on the outside. Listen, Donaldson lowers that shoulder. That easily could have been no gain on that play. Gave them a little bit of breathing room.
They have stuck with the game plan of running the football. About 60% of the plays today for the Bulldogs have been that way after they got away from it last week. Keep it on the ground. Ramirez has a hole, and he's got a first down.
A nice job working up to that second level. It's Braden Walton, the true freshman. Both of his parents also went to Fresno State, but he gets up to that second level. All kinds of room for Brandon Ramirez, and offensive coordinator Josh Davis says he's not going to make a lot of people miss. At least he's not going to shake a lot of people. He will get downhill and run you over as well.
He's the powerful running back in that running back room. Conklin fakes to him, throws off his back foot. It's pulled in by Richie Anderson as he goes tumbling to the ground on the sideline. And then 3 flags are all thrown at the end of the play.
But you're going to see this action come over to the left, and that play action, well, that's a great job pulling that ball in with Benefield in the coverage. The officials are having a little conference over on the sideline. Looks like it's going to be on Fresno State. They're talking to Spencer Danielson whether he's going to accept this penalty.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense, number 10. That penalty's half the distance to the goal line. The down counts. It'll be second down.
It's Jordan Malaulu coming over here, being the third man in.
Just don't need that.
That's just silly, you know, just absolutely. And I guess you never know. You never know, and I'm not excusing it, but Irby may have been John earlier, you know, but from what we heard from Chenander, he's not really the kind of guy to do a lot of talking. Malaulu just cost his team with a dumb penalty deep in their own territory.
2nd and 16. It's a design keeper for Conklin, and he got met after about a 2-yard pickup is all. So Fresno State, which has faced 3rd and longs a lot today, will see another to open the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, we talk so many times about how holding penalties in particular, you know, being spot fouls and oftentimes creating these long down situations. Personal fouls like that, they can just be so stupid. It costs your team now to be in the 3rd and long situation where you're probably just going to hand the ball off to try and not put the ball at risk.
Let's see how conservative they'll be here on a 3rd and 13. Slant route, Freeman caught, dropped immediately. Amarion McCoy was there in coverage, and it's 4th down.
And Eric Chenander, a defensive coordinator, he trusts this guy, Amarion McCoy, and why not? 2 pick sixes on the season. You can see all that cushion. You're just expecting that offense, and Carson Conklin, he's going to have a check, sees all that kind of space, and he's going to want to try and throw that slant. McCoy does what he's supposed to do, just limit it to a short gain, make him punt.
Fresno State did pick up 1 first down, but the drive stalls out. They've got to punt it away yet again. Blake Sherrod, fair catch as he backpedals at the 32. So the defense gets the job done with a stop. Now the Broncos offense is coming out for the first time in the 3rd quarter. The wait is over. Barstool Sports is on the air. Dave, Big Cat, PFT, and the rest of the Barstool Sports crew put their own special twist on sports talk. Opening drive of the 3rd quarter for Spencer Danielson and Boise State, who has as many penalties as points in that first half. The 64 penalty yards for Boise State were more total yards than Fresno State had in the entire first half. Cut forth, fakes the handoff to Riley. He's got time, and now the football's loose. Fresno State fell on it. Bulldogs football inside the 30 with the lead.
Boy, Simeon Harris, I believe, was the one that comes around. See Harris right here. Watch him get that hand up there. Rake that ball away. And you get a couple defenders converge on that football. But it's that burst that Harris had. Stretching out to get that ball, knocking it away from Cutforth.
Harris has been a monster today. 2 tackles for loss, an interception, now a forced fumble that Jason Jacks recovered, meaning that's his nation-leading 4th fumble recovery of the season. Hand off to Luke. Oh, what a move, cutting back up the middle. He's down to the 18. Give him 9.5 on the first play.
Oh, man, you called it, partner. Woo! That's cutting it up right here. This is popping the toes. And you're right, that last little move that he makes a safety miss. And that was Ganter. And he's been in for Washington. But not much chance on that one. That's tough to catch a guy like that when he's making moves like that.
Give it to Ramirez, the big back. He's got a seam, and he crawls across the 5. 1st and goal after 2 big runs to start the drive.
Boy, and it's just man on man. You see the duo schemes.
They go quickly to the line. Ramirez plunging forward across the goal line. It's a touchdown. Defense turns into offense, and a quick strike touchdown for Fresno State.
An uncharacteristically dazed and confused Bronco defense right here. And you love the tempo that Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator, went with. But, hey, this is just head-on-head, old school, big boy football from Fresno on the road.
Week to week, Fresno State has begun this 3rd quarter with a punch in the mouth to Boise State. A fumble on the Broncos' first play of the 3rd quarter, and then 3 plays later, they punch it in for a touchdown, and they've got a 2-possession lead on the Blue, Robert.
When you talk about taking advantage of that middle 8, come up with the field goal late in that first half, come out here, score that touchdown. Physical offense, almost doubled up their yardage for the game.
Yeah, that's a great point. Really close. They only had 60 total yards in the first half. They've gotten 52 in the first 4+ minutes of this 3rd quarter.
It's an Ohio State math.
Proud of you. Well, the last two possessions have not been great for Boise State. An interception that allowed that field goal Robert just talked about right before halftime, and then they opened the very first play of this third quarter with a fumble.
Yeah, and of course Max Cutforth in for the injured Max Madsen just didn't have good movement in the pocket that last time and allowed Harris to knock that ball out.
Hand off to Gaines, shakes away from one. Big run to start the drive. Sire Gaines is clipped down at the 40. He picks up 15.
You go ahead and do what you want to do, Fresno State. Boise State says, hey, we're going to be Boise State. We're going to be run first. We're going to get downhill. We're going to lean on our run game. Good to see Sire Gaines, who's down after a gain earlier in the game. Hopefully he was just cramping. Looks full speed there.
They have been relying on him a lot more the last few weeks. Give him one more touch. This time he's stopped for just 2. Redshirt freshman Sire Gaines played just 3 games last year before a season-ending injury, and Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator, told us with him it's all about reps, 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 and they think he's got a chance to be special.
Trying to get some tells from that defense, whether they're going to show some pressure looks.
Cutforth steps up and it's intercepted again. 3 straight drives that result in a turnover. It's Tyus Kajabi with his first pick of the season.
Nick Benedetto, the defensive coordinator for Fresno State, said it. Volume brings confidence on the defensive side, and you're going to see him on the outside here. He just steps under that throw, and Max Cutforth just never sees him. That's what you get with backup quarterbacks. The timing just changes on game day, and he just did not confirm post-snap what the coverage was. Never saw Kajabi step right in front of it.
3 turnovers in the last 5 offensive snaps for Boise State as Fresno State in Boise State territory, and Rayshon Lucas spun to the ground after no gain.
Yeah, and who do you think is there as the exclamation point? The guy making the tackle for this Boise State defense, Ty Benefield, showing up as he's done so many times this season. Came into today, 7.5 tackles for loss, and you know, everybody just raves about this guy. You see him in practice, he looks exactly the same as he does on game day, and everybody talks about it. And the way that he plays in practice is the way that he plays on game day, just physical.
Fresno State has to use a timeout here with the play clock rolling down.
And Benefield's one of the guys, yes, we're struggling offensively, get the quick change, but make no mistake about it, if you don't know the tempo, just watch me. Benefield's one of those guys.
You had made that comment about practice and how hard he practices. Spencer Danielson was telling us yesterday that almost daily NFL scouts are coming in to look at this guy, and they'll leave saying, that's the best individual performance I've seen from a player in practice this season.
It's really amazing, isn't it? And we talked about it earlier, because of the injuries, Spencer Danielson has had to dial back the good on good in practice. And, you know, Benefield's one of those guys that just not going to apologize for it. You get popped in the mouth in practice like you knew it was coming. Hey, you know the way that I played. Better buckle your chin strap, son.
See if Benefield and this defense can make a statement after the offense has turned it over 3 straight possessions. Third and manageable coming up after they get about 4 yards here on 2nd down. And it's Derek Ganter who steps in for Zion Washington the last couple of weeks with the stop.
Big opportunity here for the Boise State defense to bow up after the interception. You know, being down 17-7 at home. You get these quick change situations, but What you did on first and second down doesn't matter if you can't close things out here on third down. Got a pressure look from this side. It brought everybody in the first half. Ran the clock down.
Delay a game
Delay
here
a game.
on
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
So a 3rd and 6 becomes a 3rd and 11 now for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and Matt Entz, you just have to be going crazy on the sideline. Like you gotta get that play in. Now look, this is the second start of the season for Carson Conklin. But you have to know, coming on the road, get that play in with enough time and make sure that that quarterback is taking a peek up there. They've had too many miscues, too many self-inflicted wounds offensively. You can't afford to come on the road and do things like that.
Conklin flushed out. Notriani chasing him down and forces the incompletion.
Chenander, the defensive coordinator, been around this a long time, and he studies opposing protection schemes and says, we're going to bring one more than you can block, force a quick decision, and take away your outlet. Conklin, no chance to make that completion.
Fresno State cannot take advantage of short field position after the interception. Nick Verdugo punts it away. Malik Sherrod standing inside his own 10, and he calls for a fair catch at the 6. Offense has to find some sort of answers for the Broncos next. Fresno State has just 116 yards of offense. So how is Boise State down 10? This is how. Blocked field goal early. Interception right before halftime that led to points. A fumble on the first play of the third quarter that led to 7 more. And then just moments ago, a second interception of the day for this defense. It's been a lot of Fresno State, especially in the last few plays. Boise State does have the football, but backed up against their own goal line. And Malik Sherrod tries to hop out of a tackle, but he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it before Corey Foreman makes the stop.
Boy, Corey Foreman, that quick move into the backfield. And remember, with this Fresno State defense, they're really missing their best player along that defensive line, Dijon Lafitte, who's the transfer from USC a couple of years ago. He's out with an injury this week, but Nick Benedetto did such a tremendous job with that Northern Illinois defense over the last few years, including in that win against Notre Dame a year ago. He's really making the most out of that unit.
Sherrod cannot get away. Penetration into the backfield once more, and it's 3rd and long for the Broncos.
What I love about the way that Benedetto uses that defensive front, he knows what kind of offensive line this is. Big, talented, experienced, mobile. Well, you need to do something to counter that. And you got to get some movement along that defensive front. We saw them struggle stopping the run against San Diego State a week ago. Much better job today.
Cut forth, swings it out. This is Gaines, cannot get away. Jaden Pearson with another tackle for loss back at the 2. And the Boo Birds have come out here in Boise.
Defensive coordinators will say it. Believe what you see. Pearson, believe what you see with this action coming out of the backfield. Sorry about the technical difficulties there.
All 3 plays went for negative yards on that drive. -1, -1, and -2. A fair catch from Ala Ulu near the 40. So Fresno State's defense is phenomenal and gives the offense great starting field position next. Tonight, Game 7 of the World Series is on Fox. It's Ohtani and the Dodgers trying to repeat. Vlad Jr. and the Blue Jays looking for their first World Series in 32 years, with coverage beginning in exactly 1 hour, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Game 7 coming up soon. Here in Boise, though, it's been a struggle for the Broncos. Third straight drive that Fresno State begins in plus territory. Rayshawn Luke with a patient run, waiting for blockers, and he's twisted to the ground after 3 yards. This just looks like a completely different team for Fresno State, and we've got extracurriculars going on. Multiple flags fly in at the end of that play.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rayshawn Luke wasn't right in the middle of that. Little man can go right in the middle of that. Little man can go. You can tell he's a fire plug, man. Maybe offsetting penalties.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. That's number 7's first unsportsmanlike of the game.
The penalties for Boise State have been crushing them as much as the offense for Fresno State has been.
Oh, yeah. You can see Rayshawn Luke bowing up, and you can see Amari and McCoy, and we don't have volume there. I'm guessing something was said that crossed the line in the mind of the official, and that's the only mind that counts when it comes to penalties.
Every scoring drive today for Fresno State has been benefited by at least one, if not more, Boise State penalties. It's the give. Luke, left side, has a lot of space, bends it to the perimeter, looking for the pylon. He gets ripped out of bounds just shy.
Boy, Sherrod Smith makes the tackle, saves 6. And so many times today we've seen Rayshawn Luke bounce to the outside. And like this, he starts front side, he presses, makes a guy miss in the hole, turns it on the outside, and Sherrod Smith just able to get there in time to keep him from scoring.
It's 23 yards for Rayshawn Luke. Sets up 1st and goal from the 2 and an opportunity to make this a 3-possession lead on the road. Donaldson searching right side. He's in! Touchdown Fresno State! All Bulldogs in the 3rd quarter.
And it's not just that they score, it's the way that they score. Watch this front. Well, you're just recreating new line of scrimmage. You can see the lead block from Brandon Ramirez. And this is exactly what Eric Chenander, the defensive coordinator, thought that they were going to see. These heavier packages, 2-back looks, physical smash mouth football. Just what you expect Boise State to be doing against Fresno State. Nothing fancy here. Donaldson just going to be following the lead block. Brandon Ramirez. Ramirez is going to get up on Marco Notriani, and Notriani known for being a physical player himself. That's just old-fashioned lead football. Something I'm used to playing back in my day, Noah Reed. We had plays called ISOs, where it was just, a fullback and a linebacker, both, kind of on the edge of sanity on the football field. 2 neck rolls. They called those slobber knockers. Those 2 guys would just kind of run into each other at full speed, and we'd be cutting off of them, and it was just kind of a test of manhood. Who's going to back down? Who's going to walk away a little confused after that collision? Like an old-fashioned physical football.
I'll tell you, this fan base here in Boise seems a little confused. The way Fresno State has come out today. Sherrod from about 4 yards deep in the end zone. He does not make it out to the 20. He gets driven backwards at the 16. every phase today, Fresno State has been spectacular.
Boy, I'm interested to see what this Boise State offense looks like coming out now. Max Cutforth, of course, in for Maddox Madsen, who was injured in that first half. In a play where he tried to escape the pocket. Looked like he got that right ankle twisted up.
In the span of 5 plays, Max Cutforth has turned it over 3 times. We're about to find out what he's made of, and he nearly had a 4th. Harris, who had a pick earlier, almost had a 2nd.
You're right, partner. Harris sees this coming all the way, and look, that's one where Cutforth's just trying to get rid of the football. Zepra applying the pressure. He gets rid of that thing. Almost went the other way.
Interception, fumble, interception, all in the span of 5 plays. Here's a handoff, and Riley spins away from a tackler. Picks up 7, makes this 3rd down a lot more manageable because they've been facing 3rd and long all day today.
You've got a defense that's reeling. Riley goes split out wide to the left.
Pass is batted down at the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
This is Zepra again. We talk about Zepra moving from the outside sometimes to the inside, and he just puts a little move on Dalen Matoyer, breaks free completely, and because Cutforth has his eyes to the left for the pump action fake, and he gets his eyes back around, he doesn't see Zepra's right there to knock that ball down.
Doyle punts it away. Mala'ulu retreating inside his own 30, and he steps out of bounds at the 25. Boise State has won 16 straight games against conference opponents. Last time they lost on the blue against a conference opponent was the 2022 Mountain West Championship game when Fresno State came in here and won the title after starting that season just 1-4. Matt Ence's team trying to do what so few have done in the last 3 years.
The Boise State defense just has to rise up.
Rayshawn Luke, that's a great patient run. Finds some space on the edge. He's down to the 34. Give him 9.5 before McCoy makes the hit.
Looks like the ball may have come out, or a Boise State defender may have ended up with the football, and they're wondering why they don't have it. Clearly, the officials called that ball down. You got yelling from the sideline. Coaches trying to get extra players out of the huddle. Gotta love college football. Controlled chaos, barely controlled.
Abbott motion, handoff. Donaldson needs just a yard. He's got that and then some. He stumbles down at the 45. 11 yards, and he moves the chains.
Gap integrity, along that defensive line. You have players moving, shifting, and when those players shift at the last second like that, everybody on the defensive line has to be on the same page. You have to understand who's going to be responsible for the gap that the player had just vacated. Looked like you had one gap missing there, wide open.
Donaldson once more chops the feet, and he's twisted down at midfield by Ty Benefield.
Josh Davis, the offensive coordinator, talked about last week against San Diego State and how they were disappointed that they had gotten away from the run. And Matt Entz, of course, was disappointed with that too, that they had gotten away from the run. So that was certainly a point of emphasis this week.
Well,
but from a matchup standpoint, you just couldn't see the Fresno State offensive line matching up this way that they have today against Boise State's defensive line.
Bouncing away from one, no Triani with the second effort in the backfield, as well as Ty Benefield coming around the edge for a loss. But certainly they've stuck with the run game a lot more this week than they did last week, considering you just saw the graphic a play ago. More points today scored than they have passing yards, and yet they're still up 3 possessions on the road against Boise State. Third and 6. Conklin throws, screen, Freeman, searching throw. He's got the first down. They haven't passed it much, but man, do they come up with a big pass play on a third down to keep the drive going.
Boy, Josh Davis calling the tunnel screen. See that bunch set? Takes a couple steps to the outside, does Josiah Freeman. Heads back in, gets a little help from his friends. Some of the offensive linemen popping out to do their job. Excellent execution.
Play clock inside 5. Snaps it just in time. Donaldson bouncing up the middle. He's across the 40. Give him 5 yards on what is the final play of the third quarter. What a performance on the road today by Fresno State. Matt Entz's team shut out last week, up 17 against Boise State today. Hey, that's what we're playing for today, the battle for the milk can, as Fresno State trying to retain possession of it after winning the most recent regular season game in 2023. Here's some notable rivalry trophies. My favorite being bottom left corner, just the bones.
Now, mine is top left, the axe.
Yeah.
Something that can get you arrested just for walking around with. That's a pretty cool trophy.
Yeah, that's a great trophy. Ramirez, first play of the fourth quarter. Nice second effort as he pushes down to the 35 and just about 1.5 yards, 2 yards shy of the line to gain.
Well, I'm interested to see how this defense looks now. And I don't know what the speech was that Eric Chenander gave to the defense earlier in the game after that one drive where they looked so uncharacteristically soft and out of place. But that's the way that they look right now. And you never expect to say something like that or see something like that from a Boise State defense.
17 unanswered points by Fresno State. A lot of that has, though, been because they've had great starting field position after turnovers. Kept, Conklin, first down. Got just enough to keep the drive alive.
Well, he knew exactly what he needed on that one. Jeremiah Irby going to be in pursuit here. Doesn't get there in time. That moves the chains. And they're going with the substitution here, bringing some new big bodies along that front, bringing Sanusi and Latu back into the game.
Time of possession has been the story in the second half. 11 of the 15 minutes in the third quarter, Fresno State have it, and they keep the football on the ground, continuing to wind the clock.
Time certainly becoming an issue. But what you like to see, if you're Boise State, is what you saw in that last play. I mean, they're just creating a mess at the point of attack. And that's what you used to see from a Boise State defense. Now, you have different styles that you're going to play along defensive line. You're going to get some movement pre-snap horizontally. But reading and squeezing the football is what you got that last time.
Play action. Conklin rolling right. Sidearm delivery. Oh, defender got a hand on it. That was Jaden Mickey, the Notre Dame transfer.
Here we go. Big third down opportunity for the defense. Rise up once again. And they really kept them off schedule this time. They had given up those big chunk runs on first and second down. And they'd either converted first down on second down or left third and manageable. Here, much longer to go.
Back-to-back conversions on third down on this drive.
Watch McClain on the outside here.
Keep it on the ground. Luke bouncing. Luke springs loose. Luke has the first down. Wow. On a 3rd and 8, a couple shifty moves from Rayshon. Luke moves the chains.
I mean, it's exactly what I was going to say was, wow. You watch him move back to the inside. He's following his pullers, but it's that move to the backside. And even faking a guy like Benefield, he is so quick laterally. It's one thing to get to the right place, to the tackle point. It's another thing to get a guy like Luke down, who can go 0 to 60 in an instant.
Luke again, great patient run. Flag does fly in, and he's chased down by Benefield, this time inside the 15. Have to check the marker first.
You can see all those Fresno State players backing up. The ref's starting to back that thing up.
There are 2 fouls on the play by the offense. Holding, offense, number 87. That penalty's declined. Holding, offense, number 72. That penalty is 10 yards. First down.
2 guilty parties. Tarwater and Fanua on that one. That's huge, potentially here for Boise, because that really backs Fresno State up to the edge of the range of your kicker. If you can hold them on this drive for the rest of the drive, could save yourself any points.
Conklin with pressure just does the smart move, gets rid of the football.
And now, as a defensive coordinator, Eric Chenander's got to be thinking, do you want to get greedy? Do you want to create some sort of splash play? Do you want to bring that pressure? And defense, football in general, it's always a numbers game. Every number that you commit to a blitz to go after the quarterback is somebody you don't have on the back end of your defense. It's always risk and reward.
Boise State has not brought pressure a whole lot today. Handoff, this is Donaldson. Sheds 1 tackler, he's down to the 30, just got a yard, maybe 2.
That's exactly what they did there, though. They did bring that pressure and they brought it to the right place. Experienced play caller that Chenander is, based on formation. Sometimes they get the blitz call to a certain side. You blitz the run, trying to create those negative plays and put your opposing offense in a situation where they'd rather not risk going for the whole thing on 3rd down. See what they do here.
Conklin, screen, Freeman with a block. Freeman to the edge, shoved out of bounds at the 25. So it is 4th down. Dylan Lynch, season long, is from 43 yards.
It's about what this is.
Yep. Chance to extend this lead to 20. And it is, in fact, a 43-yard attempt, which would match his season long. Snap and hold in place. The kick on the way. Got it. 2 made field goals today for Dylan Lynch, and Matt Entz's team has a 20-point lead.
Welcome back to Boise. Fresno State with a 27-7 lead, and here is a lead from Papa Smurf off of the line. But this is a message to all you puppies out there that chase tees is in these competitions, you have to cross the goal line. Don't showboat early. Papa Smurf, we thought Papa Smurf might be a little bit more athletic than the costume would indicate. And we were right. Ends up winning that one because of the showboating. That was a rough one.
Rough. Human or dog, you gotta finish the goal line. You can't give up the football or the tee before the goal line. 20 unanswered points for Fresno State. Max Cutforth, it's been a tough day for the backup quarterback who in a span of 5 snaps earlier today had 3 turnovers, a pair of interceptions, and a fumble. In the last 5 drives in total have gone for just 16 total yards, 3 turnovers, 2 punts. Got to find something here in the fourth quarter. Bates in motion. Cutforth delivers. Lauder the catch. He's got a first down as he carries the defense with him for 11 yards.
And remember, on one of those interceptions, Lauder just juggled that ball, popped up into the air. We got a bulldog down. I think that may be Zebra.
It's Jason Jacks.
Oh, old man eyes. It's a Jimi Hendrix song. What if 6 turned out to be 9? I mean, Jax has had incredible season. 3 fumble recoveries. Tied for the, or excuse me, as the nation's leader did coming into the game. It's a good sign there, I hope, that they're just massaging that calf. Hopefully that's just a cramp. Yeah, I've done that walk before. That's the worst too, man. It looks like he started to pop that hamstring cramp. That's the worst, when you start stretching your hamstrings and your quads cramp up, and then your calves cramp up. You get that Fred Sanford walk. I think he's okay though. You see a little
trying to jog it out.
That little trot at the end. That's a big man that could move and make some great plays out of Palo Alto.
First down, down 20. Cutforth, pressure off the edge. Football came out again. Boise State falls on it. But wow.
And this is Finn Claypool that's going to come around the edge. And he's got that speed for days. He's going to beat the left tackle. He comes in and he knocks that ball out. This is a guy from Des Moines, Iowa. He's a senior. And he's 6th in all levels of college football, including FCS. 56 tackles for loss in his career. Nice job knocking that ball out.
It's a really cool story. 4 years at Drake, 3-time first team all-conference. Cutforth throws on the run. There is a flag. Couldn't quite come away with the football. It's nearly intercepted once again, but there is a penalty marker to check on.
I think what you're seeing here.
Holding, offense, number 75. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
With Max Cutforth, unfortunately, you're a Broncos fan. You're just seeing the difficulty of playing the quarterback position. You can't wait for throws to get open. You have to anticipate when throws are going to be open. And when these guys are playing tight man coverage, open means favorable leverage. You can't wait too long.
3rd and 27. Cutforth again facing pressure, and it's incomplete. Was looking for Chase Penry on the sideline. Brings up 4th down.
And again, he waited on that throw, and then just threw it a little bit too far to the outside. And it's one thing to get those reps in practice, but when you get that adrenaline, when you get some of the anxiety of game day performance at the quarterback position, it's why it's the most important position really in any sport at any level. You can see why it's just so difficult. Go for a fake here again.
Doyle does punt it away. Mala Ulu, the fair catch inside the 35. Tough day today for Boise State. In fact, the only person in blue that's celebrating is Papa Smurf. Not much reason to celebrate today for Boise State. Tied for the longest home winning streak in college football with Alabama, 16 straight, but it appears that Spencer Danielson's team might only hold that title for another 9 minutes and 13 seconds, down by 20. "20 unanswered points since this game was tied at 7 apiece late in the second quarter. A second half that's been completely dominated by the Bulldogs, and specifically the guy running the football, Rayshawn Luke, who's broken off big run after big run in the second half today."
Boy, I'm so impressed, not just with Luke and the way that he's been running the football. Remember, he's a guy 5'9", 180 pounds. Started off at the University of Arizona, John Bosco product, California. Not a big guy, but he runs hard, and he's just so quick. But that offensive line has been opening up things all day long for this Fresno run game.
He carried it a season low 5 times last week. He's carried it 15 times this week. And now this is the big back in Brandon Ramirez, who charges down to the 38 for 4 yards. And that was the one thing they told us this week in our meetings, Robert, is they got away from the run game a lot and too quickly last week. They've run it 39 times today.
Yeah, necessity can be the mother of invention, too. We've only got 35 yards passing in the game. It's like your best option. But in all seriousness, you know, coming into today's matchup, just thinking about the offensive line against this defensive line of Boise, just seemed like a terrible matchup. But here's an opportunity for Boise to get them off the field on 3rd down.
Conklin off the back foot. Donaldson, the running back, has it, and he cannot escape from the tackle. Good swarming open field tackle for Boise State. The defense does their job here to force a 3 and out.
Boy, and watch the effort from Bone Phelps. Bone Phelps, the former, he's that converted safety. You know, when you get in situations you're down in games like this, it gets harder and harder for defenders to kind of put their body on the line. But you can see Phelps drops back, and he sees exactly what's going to happen here, knows he's going to have to go through an offensive lineman. Doesn't matter. Said, hey, I'm ready to get sore.
Sherrod inside the 20. It's a few yards on the return. Inside 7 to play. Boise State's nation-long winning streak might be coming to an end, down 20. The blue has been such a home field advantage in recent years, including this year when Boise State's scoring 49 points per game at home. Just 7 today, and those total yards is what jumps out to me, Robert. Only 141, more than halfway through the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and you expect there to be a drop-off from your starter to your backup quarterback for Madsen to cut for it, but it's been bad. I mean, there's just no other way to describe it. He just doesn't look like he's ready for live action. And I know you go into a game with play calls designed for certain people playing the quarterback position in mind, but this is brutal.
Lost Maddox Madsen on the 3rd drive of the game with an apparent lower leg injury. Cut forth, sprays it out. That is caught by Sherrod. He's ripped to the ground immediately on a short gain by Harris, who's been phenomenal today for Fresno State.
Sherrod facing his former team. A little extra motivation today, but just hasn't been much room at all for this Boise offense to do much of anything.
Cut forth to Penry, caught, wrestled to the ground. Looks like it should be enough for a 1st down.
And that's really the only place where we've seen Cutforth have any success throwing the football, if it's not some sort of swing or pass right at the line of scrimmage, is that little hook zone. We've seen him hit some of his receivers. We've seen him hit Matt Lauder in that area as well.
They actually marked him about a yard shy, so they give it off to Sherrod. He's got the first down. Play later, they still move the chains. But down 20 and a clock ticking inside 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
Down 3 scores. We got an injury.
Fresno State defensive player down on the ground.
It might be Zerpa. This time it is Zerpa.
Yeah.
It's that 9 on the shoulder.
Matt Ince going out to check on Zepra, who had a career-high 7 tackles last week in the game against San Diego State. Made a couple plays in the backfield today. He talked so highly about him each of the last 2 weeks that we've had Fresno State, said he's so disruptive, gets into the backfield with ease.
Yeah, and he's a big guy. Can play inside or out. And of course, with the injury to Dejan Lafitte, we talked about that earlier. Well, that's good sign. You get a big man like that that can jog off to the field. It's a pretty good sign, because they were checking the lower legs again. And, you know, we've seen some cramping issues, so you hope it's nothing more than that. He had a nice little happy jog, no limp at all, going off the field, looking pretty good.
Empty backfield here for Cutforth. They do not have any pace right now. That clock is just continuing to roll under 5:20. Cutforth launches down the sideline, one-on-one coverage, and there is a flag. They wanted Penry.
Boy, I wonder if this is going to be offensive pass interference.
I think that's the signal. You're right.
Pass interference. Offense, number 13. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, just live, that's what it looked like. And it was Alzoya and Hamilton in on the coverage. Pretty sticky coverage. And Spencer Danielson getting the explanation that he wants no part of from the official. Like, he could say anything to him right now, it wouldn't matter. But there was a little fighting going back and forth there. I'm not so sure. You know, the Boise fans certainly don't think it was OPI.
Cutforth to the right side. Pass is caught by Penry this time. And a flag in at the end of the play. My goodness, that's been the theme all day.
Yeah, it would be a face mask or something. You'd have to think it was something on the tackle. Just kind of where that flag was thrown. I didn't see a late hit come in.
After the play was over, personal foul, targeting, defense, number 39 with the crown of his helmet.
Oh, wow.
The previous plays under further review.
Jaden Pearson, the leading tackler, best defensive player for Fresno State. So if that targeting is upheld, not only do they lose them the rest of this game, but they lose them in the first half of the next game.
That would be Wyoming. They're going to have a bye week. Take another look at this. At some point, and Pearson's a versatile guy too. I mean, he's a linebacker, but they stand him up on the defensive line a number of times, walk him up over the center. And looking at the big board here. I don't think like he missed.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely lowers the helmet. It looks like he's going at his own guy. You see him coming in there, yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, it's like he went helmet to helmet with his own guy. Definitely lowers his helmet. We don't have a rules expert. Just being rules interns. I wonder if you can get helmet to helmet on your own guy.
After review, there is no foul for targeting.
So that's huge for Fresno State. That's your best defensive player, Jaden Pearson. He stays in the game and stays eligible for the first half of the next game against Wyoming. Matt Entz's team lost 23-0 last week, shut out at home, and they've responded in a phenomenal way today, up 20 against a Boise State team that's won 16 straight home games. More than likely, that's coming to an end today. Cut forth, he's sacked. Finn Claypool, team leading 4.5 sacks this season, drops cut forth.
And Finn Claypool, he's going to come off the left side of the offense. And this is one where Cutforth's just got to know. Got to get moving in that pocket, but that's why the left tackles are so important. Protect that blind side.
Cut forth, that is well short of his intended target on the sideline. Wanted Matt Lauder. It's 4th and 23. Starting quarterback Maddox Matson went down with an injury on the 3rd drive of the game. We saw him on crutches and in a boot. Spencer Danielson turns to Max Cutforth, who's just 11 for 21 today, has thrown a pair of interceptions, and the offense has just struggled to get anything going at any point today. Cutforth floats it to the near side, and the defense was closer than anybody else. Jakari Embry got a hand on it. That was on 4th down. It's a turnover on downs with 4:08 to go.
Boy, really tough day for the Broncos and the Bronco fans watching this. And you look at the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart, and it's Oscar Doyle, the punter, who does have a couple of touchdown passes this year. We saw one of those on the field goal that went south, bad snap against New Mexico. And it was actually his other pass was a 1st down against UNLV, but you know, you've had some decommits at the quarterback position, and it brings up the issue, NIL, and what guys are getting paid around the country. Spencer Danielson, he wants a certain type of guy. He wants the kind of guy that's going to want to play at Boise, but you just wonder about the reality of the future of your program and your ability to bring some of those, I mean, let's call them what they are, high money quarterbacks into your program.
Well, Spencer Danielson's team is on the verge of losing at home for the first time in 17 games. They've won 16 straight games against Mountain West teams. Just the kind of performance that you don't see them have very often. The last time they lost by 20+ points to a conference opponent, you saw the graphic a couple plays ago, 1996.
Yeah, I guess you were walking. You probably weren't talking at that point, though.
I would have been 2. Should have been talking by then.
Goo Goo and Gaga doesn't count.
Elijah Gilliam in the game now as the running back. I just don't think you can say enough about Fresno State and the way that they respond from last week, getting shut out, having quite literally nothing going offensively, and to come back and run the football the way they did today against this defense is so impressive.
It really is. I mean, we had the front row seat to that one, right? We were there in Fresno the first time that I had a chance to be at that fine facility, and I say that you know, not joking at all, right? Like, seeing that concrete stadium and all the stories around that, and being there and then seeing them get shut out. First time that they were shut out at home since 1980. And then, you know, to watch Matt Entz at the press conference this week and post-game, and, you know, to just kind of hear it in his voice, right? Like the disappointment. You know, it's a team that had started off so well this season, and then the back-to-back losses against Colorado State, against San Diego State, and you just wondered how they were going to look playing in a place like Boise. Big surprise, but a pleasant surprise if you're a Bulldog fan.
This is Jonathan Arsenault, the 5th different running back Fresno State has used today. He gets stacked up immediately by Derek Ganter. Does bring up 4th down.
I love it when we have the refs' mics open down on the field, and you can hear the full conversation, let's call it, between offensive and defensive players. Brings back some good memories of the chaos on the field.
Surely you weren't a talker, right?
I was not a talker. I was a laugher, quite honestly. Like, are you serious? I don't know. Like, I don't know why you think that's going to affect me saying that to me.
You know, I believe that, because you told me the first time you ever had the wind knocked out of you, you laughed on your trot back to the sideline. And I'm like, yeah, I guess we have different definitions of funny. Because I don't know that I'd be laughing after that.
Yeah, well, the only reason I was laughing is because I was convinced I was going to die on national TV. And that, to me, was funny, right? Like, it's like, wait a second, 20 seconds ago, I thought I was going to die on national TV. No, I'm fine. That's pretty funny.
33-yard attempt here for Dylan Lynch, who's already made 2 field goals today. It's a chance to extend the lead to 23 points. And he will do just that as it tucks inside that left upright to make it 23 consecutive points scored by the Bulldogs since this was a 7-7 game right before halftime. Carson Conklin did not have the start he wanted in his first start last week. Threw a pair of interceptions, completed less than half of his passes. And listen, the numbers are nothing crazy today. He threw for just 35 yards. But to come on the road and beat a Boise State team that has not lost at home in the last 16 games is certainly something to build upon for a young, inexperienced quarterback.
Yeah, and I point to those guys up front. You know, Braden Walton, that true freshman at that left tackle spot, Panua at left guard, Spomer, Polendo, and Fullwood. And really, Polendo, well, Fullwood in particular. You know, this is a guy that's been around a long time. This was his first year as a starter, and, you know, kind of rebuilding this entire roster, but especially what I think is it's the most important position group, because no matter what you have, shiny toys at quarterback, wide receiver, running back, if you don't have an offensive line that can get it done, you're going to struggle.
Short squib kick. That's picked up near the 35. So that's where Boise State's offense will start. Down 23 with 3:41 to go. About to have their 16-game home winning streak snapped. 16 straight wins against Mountain West teams also snapped, barring something crazy happening here in the final 3:41. Cut forth, completes it to Penry. Spins down across the 40. And in all fairness, the Mountain West is still going to remain wide open. San Diego State's about to be the only unbeaten team left, but UNLV lost earlier today to New Mexico, so they've got 2 conference losses. Cut forth, snaps it over the middle, caught, and whoa! Cam Bates got leveled by Ryan Wilson.
Hey, but that is the throw that you needed to see if you're Nate Potter, the offensive coordinator. Let's see if we get another chance. Take a look at that one. I know they're in hurry-up mode here.
Completes again over the middle. Latrell Caples with the catch.
You know, to the point that I made earlier, you cannot wait. for wide receivers to get open. You have to throw people open sometimes, and you have to anticipate where those holes and those openings are going to be. And that throw a couple of plays ago was a perfect example. His receiver was actually covered from his line of sight. Now, it's one thing to talk about what we see from the booth, and people at home are like, how come the quarterback couldn't see that? From his line of sight, the wide receiver wasn't even visible, but he had the confidence to understand where he needed to get that ball, got it there. It's late.
Conklin, end zone, incomplete. It was Cumonte Williams, the true freshman, who was looking for his first catch of his career, couldn't quite pull it in. Jakari Embry was able to knock it away.
Not terrible here. Maybe a little bit short on that throw, but that's one that should have been caught. You know, you give your guys a chance to make that catch, and you know, when that defender has got his back turned to you, he can only cover the width of his back. You put that ball up for your receiver, give him an opportunity for a back shoulder catch. He should have had it.
Cut forth, escapes pressure, throws it out of play.
Look, I've never, well, I shouldn't say I've never played the position. I played the position a little bit. But you really don't get an appreciation for how difficult quarterback is until you watch a lot of football and you see a lot of different situations and what they go through. You kind of know some of it when you're a player, but until you kind of see it more broadly and in different systems, it's just a difficult position, and it's why it's so hard to find a guy that can consistently do it. And you know, it's one thing to have guys, you know, I'm sure people can relate to this, like me. You know, it's one thing to do it on the driving range. You know, it's another thing to take your game to the course, and it's one thing to do it in practice when people can't hit you. It's another thing to do it out on the field. And you know, just like golf, it's not how good you are at your best, it's how low you are at your worst, how bad you actually get. Like, are you, you know, double bogey, or are you ball in pocket, right? And breaking clubs and throwing clubs into the water. Quarterback's a tough position to play.
Obviously was not the plan to have Max Cutforth as the starting quarterback today, but Maddox Madsen's injury in the first quarter that left him on crutches and in a boot. Elijah Gilliam can run this all the way down to the 2-minute timeout now. This was a 7-7 game with 5 seconds before halftime. Matt Entz's team got a field goal to go up 10-7, and they've outscored Boise State 20-0 in the second half.
They actually have more yards now, 215 to 203. Remember, Fresno State had 60 yards in that first half.
All Fresno State on the blue today, about to snap the nation's active leader in home winning streaks. Well, there's Maddox Madsen, no jersey on. He's got a boot on, crutches on as well. Third drive of the game, the starting quarterback took a lower leg injury. He's been out since, and it has been a tough day for Boise State because of that, having given up 23 consecutive points, down 30-7, and about to have their 16-game home winning streak snapped. Jonathan Arsenault, out of the 2-minute timeout, is spun to the ground after a first down and a run of 15.
Yeah, and Arsenault, much like we saw from Rayshawn Luke earlier, not the biggest guy, but you can see that burst and that ability to break that initial tackle, make that first guy miss, then turn on the Jets.
All smiles on that Fresno State sideline. They are a minute and a half away from becoming bowl eligible for the 5th consecutive season in year 1 under Matt Entz.
Greatest formation in football.
Love it.
Unless it's to end the first half. That's not a great. Then it's just
That's not as fun, yeah. And Spencer Danielson and company will have to go back to the drawing board. They were undefeated in the Mountain West. They almost never lose on the blue. And the milk can will stay in possession of Fresno State, who will now have won 3 straight in this series. One of the very few that have had success in recent years against Boise State. Seven days after being shut out at home for the first time in 45 years, they come out here on the road, put 30 on the board, and were dominant in just about every aspect today. The kind of win as a first-year head coach you can most certainly build upon.
Yeah, you certainly can. And again, having seen them play against San Diego State a week ago, to lose that game at home the way that they did, they come on the road with an emotional win like this. Obviously, having Maddox Madsen out affected what Boise State was going to be able to do. But hey, I'll use another golf analogy. It's not how, it's how many. This counts as another win. Doesn't matter how you get it. They still feel pretty dang good.
Carson Conklin's first win as the starting quarterback, and the milk can will stay in possession of Fresno State. 23 consecutive points to end the game, and they win it 30-7. A big thank you to our producer, Brad Weimer, our director, Brian Biederman, and the rest of our phenomenal Fox Sports crew. For Robert Smith, I'm Noah Reed saying good night from Boise, back to our LA studios.